The pregnant woman woke from a coma naked and in pain. Her stomach was cut open. The fetus was missing. Just a horrible scar on his belly. The woman struggled to get out of the bathtub, choking back the pain. In the corner of the strange room was a set of football uniforms. The same thing that happened to Baze. There were 4 other pregnant women. They were all in labor. He was kidnapped and brought here. They were all used the same way. Cut the belly open and sew it up. The whereabouts of their children are also unknown. One of them was the most miserable. When he was found, his belly wound was open. If you survive, please take care of mine, yes. Soon he hemorrhaged and lost vital signs. It's not like the Baze guys didn't want to run. But they looked carefully at their surroundings. This is an abandoned factory. There are no people for 10 miles around. The factory is also surrounded by barbed wire. Bess picked up the branches and dug along the bottom of the net. But it took a long time to dig. Found that the iron net went several meters deep into the earth. There's no way to dig our way out, plus a couple of people wondering where the kids are. So he decided to go back inside the factory to find the child. But something happened in the middle of the search. A woman was left alone and brutally murdered with a scalpel. When the other 3 arrived on the scene, the killer is on the run. Only in the camera, leaving behind a picture of the back of a fugitive. And the woman who was killed, her belly wound was brutally opened. Looks like the killer was trying to dig inside her. The Baze 3 continue their search of the factory. Soon they would find a baby's room. There were 6 newborns all locked up in cages. Beth understands. One of them must be his own child. But how do we find him? Suddenly, he noticed each child's ankle. They're all tied with a different color tag. Being hit by lightning at will, he took out a green label and checked it carefully. This is the first time, found in the belly of a dead woman. Reminiscent of the first victim's last words.
If you survive, please take care of my yes.
Beth reasoned. Everyone has a label on their belly. Just take it out. You can find your baby by the color. 3 people understand. Leave immediately for the veterinarian's office you just passed. Find medical tools, ready to unstitch and retrieve the tag and identify the child. But what few people know is this. Their movements were recorded by surveillance cameras. For every person who dies, a red line will be drawn across their picture. And the man behind it, same couple Baze saw before she was kidnapped. Baze and her husband were out of town visiting family a few hours ago. They stopped by a motel for a night. I slept until midnight and my husband went out to look for food. Who knows, a kung fu wife turned around, inexplicably disappeared. The husband immediately went to the local detective to report it. He suspected the innkeeper of plotting against his wife.
Is that your fiancé, Alfred?
That's her.
Look at the fucking tits on her. Outstanding.
But the inspector said nothing. Took her husband away on false charges. Fortunately, her husband was agile. He took his chance, grabbed the pistol, threw the inspector down. He drove back to the hotel in a police car with a good beating. It took the innkeeper to tell the truth. There was a factory on the outskirts of town. He preys on pregnant women who pass by. They cut open the belly of a pregnant woman, sell children as commodities. The husband was so angry that his teeth would crack. He immediately drove to save his wife, only to get close to the destination. There's a line of barricades on the ground. The husband didn't notice and just put them up. The car suddenly overturned. Her husband was also killed in the accident. At the same time, Baze came out of her coma. During the day, the 3 are on their way to the vet, being chased and bitten by 2 rabid dogs. In the panic, a woman escaped by hiding in a tin box. Baze and the other man fell into the pit unconscious. Beth climbed out of the pit, but his partner couldn't get away with a broken calf. Baze had to get the tools to get him out first. He went into a small room with a light on. This is supposed to be a rest stop. Suddenly, a stout man appeared at the door with a cart. Beth stared. The body in the cart, just another woman who was chased and bitten by a rabid dog during the day. Turns out he had just woken up, was brutally murdered by that killer. The strong man walked into the room and he saw Baze. Suddenly looked frightened. Baze realized that the strong man's mind was like a child's. It wasn't aggressive in any way. Beth stepped forward tentatively. The sharp eyes saw a bunch of keys hanging around the neck of a strong man. Must be the key to the baby's room. He grabbed the key and ran away. Baze rescued his partner from the pit. The first thing they need to do is get the labels out of their bellies. They helped each other into the vet's room. Companion find tool. He opened the stitches while lying on the table. He shook his hand and tried to pick the label out with tweezers. But suddenly the room was dark. The killer showed up again. He broke a woman's neck. And I reached into my stomach for the tag. Baze came to the rescue. Killer easily wrenched him under him. Guji, to pick up the clothes will go to pick the belly of Beth. Baze put up a good fight. He aimed a sharp kick at the murderer. The sharp object on the wall pierced the killer's body in an instant. Baze took the pain to chase the killer, finally out of his hands. Find 4 labels of different colors. Turns out the killer wanted his kid back, too. But he didn't want to open his stomach. So I had to kill the others. Collect the tags from their bellies, to find him. The child is now a failure. The only thing the killer could pull out was the tag in his stomach. He gave it to Baze, and begged him to take care of himself. Then the child lost his breath. Beth's left with a sour nose, and the people behind it all see it. Beth hurried to the nursery. The kids are all gone. He was caught, too. Reawaken. Baze got her hands trapped in chains. Dimly, he saw an ankle. A baby with a purple tag popped up. It was his own child. It turns out that behind this brutal fight, it's a ridiculous tour of rich people adopting fancy kids. The show factory kidnaps pregnant women at a time to provide clients in several different mothers. Pick the best babies. This is the only facility on Earth
Where adopting parents can evaluate the mother of their prospective child before purchasing it.
Those who are eliminated will die in the fight, and the only winner will be left behind. The adopter is armed. I was about to take Baze's life. All of a sudden, the mentally retarded man was acting up. He shot the foster couple by mistake. Baze grabbed the shotgun in the confusion. Threatened the factory owner to hand over all the children. Make the material factory master painting style change.
You and Roger must be very close.
Baze panic. How does he know his parents' names? The boss of the factory saw that he was young, pulled out another birth file. It's Baze's file. Original. Baze was also a baby sold at the factory through survival of the fittest. His own mother had the same tragic fate. Scenes of bloodshed flashed through my mind. Bess felt the anger she had never felt before. He seized the factory owner. With the keys around my neck. Punched a big hole in his stomach.
How does that feel?
End of film. The stupid factory was finally wiped out. Beth is holding the child on the road to find relatives.